So hi guys, naturally I'm not feeling very Zoe friendly today, and it's not me so much that I just found out a few new things about organic and organic foods that kind of depressed me a little bit. And I will say that my last shopping experience was really depressing as I was taking organic fruits and veggies off the shelf. And it's basically an article that I recently read, which I will share a link to on my blog, that basically I just found out that even though foods are organic, doesn't necessarily mean that it's pesticide free, which of course defeats the purpose, because the reason why I turned to organic was so that my food could be pesticide free. So that has been a little bit sort of a bit too much for me to handle at the moment, and every time I put food in my mouth I almost feel like I'm going to cry. And so I went to the USDA website, which is the organic USDA website, and there is a really long list of approved pesticides that you can actually use for organic farming at the moment. And I don't know whether it's just in the US or whether this is sort of everywhere else, but I would say it's really important that you check. For me, I started getting really concerned because I'm basically making food for the kids and baby food and stuff, and we're eating it, we're juicing and stuff, and I'm thinking that I've been putting all this stuff in my body that I thought I was avoiding. I mean, we've been doing organic for a while, but it's just so upsetting that they don't alert you or tell you what is happening or any changes that have occurred. I've spent some time now with the shop that I buy our food from. I gave them a call because they said that they would offer me the supplies list on request, at which point they told me that I needed to call their head office, at which point when I called the head office they said to me, well, we can't guarantee that they don't use any pesticides. And that was kind of upsetting, because I said to them, well, you know, I trust you guys in getting me organic food, and you know, and I'm putting my faith and my trust in you that you will be checking for these things. And they said, well, we just check that they're certified, and that their privacy of their vendors are protected, so therefore they cannot give me the information, one, of the vendors, and two, of the of whether they do use it or not. Their main concern is that they be certified, and that's it. And this is not with everybody. This is just with the bigger stores. So I'm not using a major supermarket. I'm just using our local store. And so I basically started to source out smaller local growers, which I think is now our best option. And if you do live in the States, I would really strongly recommend that you speak to your suppliers and ensure that they don't use any pesticides. And if they can't give you that information, then I think you need to start going to your local farmers market and speaking to the growers that are there, because you know, I've managed to speak to a few of them, and you know, they're a lot smaller, so they don't use all that stuff, and their passion is still there for organic. So this is the new step we're taking, because I'm trying to keep my family as natural and healthy as possible, and you know, organic is going backwards rather than forward, especially for the bigger suppliers. Yes, so I've called some really big companies that generally you don't realise supply, and they're all really protective. They're really defensive, and I'm like thinking to myself, this should not be the case. This is organic. This is the reason why you went into the business of being organic, is mainly because hopefully you have a passion for the use of, or the non-use of pesticides and things that are harmful, and growing food and supplying food that are healthy to people. But it's almost as though they want to make so much money now that organic for them is more of a fad rather than you know, what we as consumers are looking to organic for. So it's really upsetting. It's really upsetting, but it's positive in that I found out now rather than 5 years from now, and I can do something about it, which is really, really not just buying local doesn't mean going to your local store and buying organic food from your local store. This I've just found out. Buying local really means going down to your farmers market, speaking to the organic growers there, asking those questions and ensuring that they don't use pesticides, and then you can buy from them directly. And a lot of them deliver boxes, a lot of them have CSA shares and things like that. So you really, really need to start looking at it as a whole different way, and it just spreads across the board, because then you're thinking of canned goods and things that, okay, foods that are in the can, those are major corporations, which means there's a very high chance that their food might actually contain USDA approved pesticides that can be used on organic foods. So that's a whole different thing that you have to look at as well, especially if you're feeding your children. I mean, I cook my food at home for my little ones, and even the baby food that I make is made at home. And so I'm still concerned, even though I'm making it at home, because the fresh vegetables that I'm buying might have some form of pesticides on it. But if you're buying it in the jar for your baby or for your kids, there is a high chance that those particular foods, despite the organic on it, will contain pesticides. They might not be the pesticides that they use on the regular food, but they are approved, and they can be just as harmful. So you really, 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 if you're an organic eater and you really pride yourself on trying to eat healthy, and the reason you went organic is to avoid all these things, then you really, really need to start looking into it. For us, and I will keep you updated, we are changing over. I'm changing the family over from buying at the local store to moving into more or using the smaller growers. And I've spoken to a few of them, and I'm putting together different things that we need, because some of them can't supply bulk juicing stuff. So I'm going to one group of them for it, and I'm going to work out whether it's financially easier. It's financially easier to just do that on our weekly budget, you know, and they are nice, and they talk to you, and they don't avoid you, and they don't pass you on to someone and pass you on to someone else and pass. They really do take the time to speak to you and help you. Which I think is important, and going back to the original reason why we use local farmers and all those things. So yes, my little rant on what I've just discovered about organic is really depressing, but I'm trying to get it sorted. So yes, thanks for listening if you haven't already shut out, and don't panic or freak out if you've just bought organic food. You might as well just use it. You can just go and, if you can, go and get some vegetable and fruit wash, which should apparently get a few of those things off, but obviously not all of it. But yes, those are things to think of for this week, really. So yeah, that's it. My organic is possibly killing me. A bit depressing. Okay, now that I've ranted on, I'm going to go back to trying to see if I can find someone local for the rest of my food. Thanks for listening.
Bye.